All right, there's your boy Mr. G, and we're going to take a little ride today and do Road to Freedom a little bit differently. And I'm going to take my bike because I'm getting to the point now where I can't ride during the week. It's too cold in the morning, and I'm going to get rides in on the weekends probably when it warms up a little bit. So here is my V-Star 1300 Deluxe with fairing, windshield, Bluetooth, iPod Connect, GPS. I added this, which is a little throttle lock, so I basically have cruise control. Then I had to add these because I added these bars, which come up higher for more touring. I added the air hawks, and I added the sissy bar for my wife as well. And I think this is going to go next in favor of just having one in the front, so I can get boards that come back to like here, but we'll see. How you doing? So yep, Yamaha starts right up every time, fools. And I wanted to broach a different topic. Like that, and that topic is a little bit of history. In one of my other videos, it was mentioned about the bobber thing that I brought up and where that came from. You know, the bikes were bobbed or stripped down after World War II, when Harleys and Indians were brought home to America, United States of America. They were stripped down and they were bobbed, and you know, it's the same idea as hair being, you know, a woman having her hair bobbed. It's like made neater, pulled up, cut shorter. That's what bobby pins are for. It started hitting me though when I was thinking this through, that someone commented on like that piece of history, that there's a lot of motorcycle history that's actually really significant, and I wonder just like how many of us actually know it. Now, I happen to be a history buff, and so I know it, but that doesn't mean, you know, that everyone does. Maybe you just like to ride your bike. You don't like to read about your bike, you want to actually ride it. Man, I love this bike. I'm out there doing these Triple C motorcycle reviews, looking for the perfect bike, but I might just have to have two bikes. So, some history that we should all know and ponder and think about, and see if any of it correlates to modern day motorcycles, which I think it does, but how strong that correlation is, I guess, is the key. Needs to be discussed. So welcome, this is your boy Mr. G, and you're on another rite of passage with me on the road to freedom. And the copper's up here trying to pull some fools over, so I don't know if we want to go that way. Let's not go that way. I'm not trying to slow down, I'm trying to speed up. So World War II ends, and Germany has to make reparations to basically Russia and the United States, but then, you know, France gets in on it, and Japan even gets in on it at one point, although that they're suspect of having maybe just stole the ideas. And there's a company in Germany that basically winds up being responsible for all of modern motorcycle for the next several decades, and a lot of people don't know this. They put out a bike called the DKW. I believe it's actually the DKW 125, and the DKW and their company winds up being absorbed as reparations for damages caused, and the United States gets the rights to DKW, as does Russia. Now Russia puts out basically garbage copies of it. They don't do their own thing, they don't expand on it. It doesn't become a big thing in Russia. They just put out their own copies of the DKW, and they call it, you know, something else, some other nomenclature, but it never really it doesn't become profoundly important to the motorcycle world from their perspective, and we move on. The British take it, where it has a huge impact on the British motorcycle world. A bike is put out called the Bantam. You can look it up, and it's basically just ripped directly from the DKW German technology that was reprised and taken. You know, you're going to pay us back somehow. How about our corporations take your corporation's stuff? Because that's what we do. And of course, we know that the British motorcycle world had a huge impact on the motorcycle world as a whole, with companies like Triumph having been around for forever and having been dead and reborn after a factory fire, and we still have Triumph today, and they're putting out some pretty cool stuff. And you know, of course, they gave us the Cafe Racer, and so this is important stuff if it all came from a German company producing the DKW. And I think it's probably fair to say it didn't all come from that, but a lot of it did. So then we go to America, where Harley Davidson and Indian also get war reparations and get the rights to this stuff. And Indian winds up dying after the war because Harley Davidson kind of screws them over with contract bids, and they also kind of screw themselves over with production. And so Indian kind of dies out, but Harley gets the rights to the DKW as well, produces a bike called the Hummer, which this is happening like 1952 to 1955. This stuff is being discussed and implemented, and the Hummer becomes a huge success for Harley Davidson. And you know, if you happen to ever see one or own one, well, you can thank German technology for that. And so obviously, with all the different American companies, this would be significant. Harley Davidson, you know, affects a large portion of the motorcycle world. But obviously mostly here in the States. So we move over to Japan. Yes, that's right. Japan, one of the defeated countries, actually winds up stealing the DKW idea. Because who's paying attention, and why not? And Yamaha makes the Red Dragon, better known as the Ya-1. And the Ya-1 becomes the basis for Yamaha and becomes a huge success. And so all of this, you know, Japanese make superior stuff, I guess so. They learned how to build from, you know, checking out what the Japanese were doing. Oh my God, there's an amazing bike car show going on here. I will turn around and check that out on the way back. And so, you know, how far did these influences spread? Poland had a version of this thing at one point. How good are my brakes? They're that good. So you can imagine that this stuff kind of spread and affected other parts of the world. You know, so for example, in India, small bikes are a thing. India actually has a huge motorcycle market that Harley is trying to currently tap into. That's really what the Street 750 is about. And you know, where did that come from? Well, that came from the British influence on the Indian economy. That's where it came from. And where did the British influence come from? It came from Germany, from the DKW 125. So, like, it's not precise, but you could make the argument that most of the world, if not all of the world, for a large portion of motorcycle history after World War II, owes its technology and motorcycles to the Germans. And so I thought I would point that out. Definitely go look up these bikes. They're really cool looking. DKW 125, the Ya-1, the Harley Hummer. Go look these things up. And next time you have a chance to see a show with some of the older bikes, check them out. You know, go check them out, because they're pretty awesome. And if you ever wind up owning one, you're probably sitting on a gold mine. That is a piece of history from the road to freedom. This your boy, Mr. G. Please check me out on Instagram, Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe. And please visit my page if you have a chance. And I will see you next time with another rite of passage on the road to freedom. And I'm out.